It's not a failure until you give up. There's always going to be a challenge. What distinguishes you from the other person is how resilient you are, how committed you are, how much time and effort are you going to give into trying to make yourself better every day.
This is where it all begins, so say goodbye to all your fears, all your doubts. This is where they die. This is where we come to win, we come to fly. This is where we make our dreams come to life. Welcome to Innovation City.
Welcome to Innovation City, a podcast featuring the innovators, disruptors, and creators who are making things happen today. My name is Michael T. Johnson. I'm here with Tyler Kelly, my co-host. And today we are with Venture Cafe St. Louis at 39 North and the Donald Danforth Plant Science Center. Now, we are very, very excited to be here today. And we have a very special guest today. His name is Samuel Achilefu.
Sam, thank you for being with us.
Truly a pleasure to be here.
This is exciting. I'm going to just fill the audience in a little bit on all of the things that you're currently doing. You are the Michel Ter-Pogossian Professor of Radiology at the Washington University School of Medicine. You're also the Vice Chair of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the Mallinckrodt Institute of Radiology. You're a research member at Siteman Cancer Center. And there's a lot of other things that I'm not mentioning because the list just goes on and on and on. But what I think is really interesting is that you're able, in your position at WashU, to explore, unexplored terrain in terms of cancer research. And you have created with your team what's being called as cancer goggles. Tell me about that. That sounds amazing.
Thank you very much for hosting me today. We are really excited about the opportunity to help patients, to help physicians, and to help the families effectively to reduce suffering. And so the cancer goggles came about by the simple idea that we do not want cancer cells to be left behind after surgery. We want to make sure the doctors, the surgeons can visualize it in real time, see exactly what they are removing, no more guesswork. And at the end, they may be able to look around and make sure that nothing is glowing. So it's a way of lighting up cancer cells in real time so that you can find them where they are hiding.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. And, when I read through just like your life's journey, it's you've been through a lot to get to this place today. So I want to just for a few moments kind of go back and just kind of fill the audience in just on, you were born in Nigeria.
Yes.
And at that time, you were living an amazing boyhood life. And then all of a sudden.
Exactly. It's Nigerian Civil War, which is disruptive. Talk about disruption in life. We were okay. We stayed in the northern part of Nigeria, and then there was this civil war that required us to relocate quickly to a safe environment, to a safer place, and that led to loss of everything we had. Basically, we became refugees, and you can imagine a 4-year-old wondering, what did you really do wrong to merit all this, and why in the world will you be going through all these sufferings? But through it, you learned a lot at the end, that the human spirit is always somewhat, it rises to the challenge, even for children, which is amazing. You find a way to adapt to the situation, to find joy in whatever way you can, and to make a living out of it.
So tell me, after that point, where did you end up, and then how did you end up pursuing medicine?
Well, I did medical research. Basically, my dad worked in the health professional area, and so we have, myself and my siblings, we have ideas of what life is like in the area of medicine. But I was not interested in medicine. I hated blood. I wouldn't like to see blood in any form or shape, and so we had to do things that are far away from what my dad did. But down the line, the medical research kept attracting me because that's one area that you can make a huge impact in people's life. That's one area that you can change things actually by conceiving new ideas that can transform the way we do things today. And so it's that willingness, that urge to contribute as little as possible to what we know today that drove me into the area of medical research.
I was reading an interview that you did, and you talked about the doctor of philosophy and just the mission that comes with that. Tell me about that.
It's interesting when you think about people talk about PhDs today, and you think it's a study of a specific area and be a master in one area. But think about the original philosophers. Everybody was supposed to be a scientist, a mathematician, an artist, a musician, all come together. So everything you do is about philosophy of life. And when you have PhDs or you have a doctorate in philosophy, doctor of philosophy, it simply gives you, that is actually a starting point to think, to be critical, to question the situation, to pose hypotheses, as if it doesn't have to be in the area where you studied. Your training should give you the ability to venture into new areas, to ask the right questions, and to be able to organize your thoughts in a way that you can address those problems wherever they are. So I see it really exciting that we are all philosophers in whatever form or shape it comes.
That's great. And I'm curious, along those lines, do you have any like philosophies that guide you specifically in what you do?
Nothing is real until you make it so. I mean, that's my basic thing, is that even when there are challenges, it's not real until you accept it. And when there are solutions, it becomes real when people accept your solution. So nothing is real for me until you make it real. And that then brings its own challenges. How do you make things become reality to people around you? And that drives me all the way. Because a lot of times, inventors and thereabout, you conceive a lot of things in your head. Sometimes people will believe you, other times they won't, or accept that notion or not. Take, for example, the idea of cancer goggles. When we started, nobody believed it will work. Basically, people laughed at it, or felt, who will wear such a glass? Surgeons will be dizzy, no, it will not be adopted by the community. Nobody will believe your reality until you make it real. So, and that's one of my philosophical guiding principles in life.
That's good stuff. So, for people that aren't familiar with just the medical process, for lack of a better phrase, what's all involved with making something from nothing?
We all learn from our environment, our contacts, our colleagues, whatever it is, or the historical events that happened in our lives. So basically, it's not like there's nothing there. Innovation is a little different from novelty. Okay. Innovators can take what exists in one form or another and transform it to become useful in another area. Novelty, on the other hand, may come up with basically nothing and you make something out of it. And a lot of things we do today, that's why innovation is the key word. We take something, we build on it and make it better. So most of the time, the problem drives you to innovation. And if you cannot innovate using what's available to you, then you should create a novel thing. You should come up with something completely different because it doesn't exist anywhere. So those are two stages of entrepreneurship or creativity, basically. Is that the first step is to see if you can make it better. Then if you can't, then you should create something new. So those are the stages we go through all the time in our lives.
I'm curious. So I'm not a doctor, so I'm not super familiar with the ins and outs of treating anything, really. and obviously cancer itself is a problem, but what was the reality of the problem that what you created solved, and how is that changing what's happening?
It's still work in progress. I'm really hopeful that very soon it will become something used around the world. The major issue came from a discussion with a surgical fellow, actually from China, who was fellow in my lab, in my institution, and he treats a lot of liver cancer patients every day. And the question is always, how do you identify cancer? Actually, what drove him was more he wanted to do this in a throughput kind of way, because they have so many patients every day. And how do you move them faster? That means you should visualize the cancer, remove it, and move to the next person. But many a times he's told me that I don't even know where the tumors are. So they spend all this time trying to figure it out by touching, by visualizing or feeling or all this. And at the end, what we ended up doing is to say, we can help you. We can devise something that will allow you to see cancer. So if you look at the human body, from outside we can take these beautiful images of magnetic resonance imaging, X-rays, CT scan. That's fine. But when you open up the body, that's a different topic altogether. And you quickly notice that sometimes you will not easily visualize cancer. But even when you can see it, how do you know where the border, the margins of those tumors are? So it's not like a football that most people may think. Sometimes it's infiltrated. It's entering into normal tissue at different angles. So how do you know where it's penetrated into normal tissue versus not? One solution is take out everything normal, and that means the patient will die. Sometimes, depending on where. The patient walks into surgery with brain tumor and then comes out not knowing who brought him or her to the surgical room because they've lost memory. So one of the things we want to do is to be able to highlight those tumors. First and foremost, if you open up the patients, put on the goggles, shine light, it glows. And you can see no more guesswork there. That's the first thing it tries to solve. Quickly know where the tumor is. The second thing it solves is then guide you to remove it completely. Okay, when you remove that tumor, the cancer, you will find that if there are some infiltration into the normal tissue, you will see where they are. And so instead of randomly taking the whole body out, you can selectively know where to remove and then spare the normal healthy tissue. That's the second thing you do. So patients don't have to come back. The cancer will not regrow in that area again. And then the third thing it does for the patient is peace of mind. And we underrate that. And your doctor can tell you we removed everything. And you can see the picture of that everything is gone. So with all those abilities to do it quick, fast, and with high accuracy, I think it brings peace of mind and better outcome for the patients. In addition to that, there are many parts of the country and parts of the world that do not have the resources that many other places here do. Even imaging, and say they are removing ovarian cancer, some places do not have the MRI, PET, or not. This becomes a tool that you can use to quickly visualize tumors during surgery.
And it's all self-contained in the goggles.
Yes,
like
it's contained there.
Wow.
There's a small dye you will inject into the patient 1-2 hours or more before the surgery, so that they will help you visualize that. And so yes, there are all these opportunities to do it. And one last bit is important. We are developing this actually and excited about it. The opportunity to take an expert here in St. Louis and help somebody in any part of the world by seeing exactly what they are seeing in real time, using your smartphone, for example, transmitting the information so that they can guide the non-expert in the area to do what they already know how to do here, or to train students. Now you can be able to train fellows in any other part of the world by using these goggles, visualizing and carrying out in real time. So we are just so excited about the potential of transforming surgery and oncology through this process.
I just recently heard of the potential that the 5G network will have, in that there's really no delay, so that a surgeon can do surgery from across the country, and your goggles would help that as well.
You know, as technology continues to advance, that's one cool area, is there's no lag time. All right, it's as if, and there's this other area of virtual reality that's happening right now, where we can project everything about you outside you, okay? And we can see your whole organs and where the tumor is. And then in reality, you can now go in and we know exactly where you are inside the body, but looking at you from outside. So all those are facilitated by artificial intelligence, by deep learning, allowing us to really take structures and project them, as well as the technology to transmit information in real time. All those are coming into play right now, and it's just exciting.
That's amazing. So you're not just like having better outcomes for patients, you're making treatment more accessible for more people.
Yes, and for me personally, that's a driving force. Wouldn't it be nice if the outcome of surgery is not dependent on how expensive your surgeon is or how well equipped the hospital is? Wouldn't it be nice to go to a local hospital and still have the same outcome that you will have in a major advanced clinical center? And that's what we want, to somehow equalize the playing field, where we can be more objective as opposed to subjective in the treatment, in surgical procedures that's being done today. Not just in surgery, but other areas of medical endeavors today, where we hope that we can start bringing more objective decisions as opposed to subjective decisions in the hospital today.
I'm curious about your opinion in regards to the art versus science of, let's say, surgery, and what like AI and robotics in the future could mean for accessibility.
When you mean the arts? Well,
so like from what I've heard, there is a debate of whether or not medicine is art or science. and how do robots and AI affect that? Yeah.
I like that very much, yeah. Well, a lot of things are a combination of both. Because there's this intuitive reasoning in all of us. No matter how you may teach the same group of students the same subject, but they take away something different from it. So there's that intrinsic part of us that brings that subjectivity, or rather, intuitiveness into our thought process. So that's always going to be there. That's the arts in us. But again, as we see technology coming in to play a huge role, you no longer rely on palpation to find something. Remember, you can't teach somebody how to feel something. They have to feel it. Now you transform that and say, no, I don't want you to feel that anymore. Instead, I want you to visualize it. Well, hopefully all of us can see, okay? And if you can see, then that's equal playing field. And in that way, you start reducing the subjectiveness that we have today into more of a kind of a ground truth that everybody will have down the line. But still, you cannot take away arts from medicine or science or whatever else you have in life, engineering. They all come in somehow to play.
It's amazing. I've heard people explain that technology is best when it allows humans to be more human, and technology handle what technology is good at. And I think that intuition is kind of the key to that.
Yeah, remember one of the experience we had with the cancer goggles was really exciting for us, that we started with this video feed, okay? The surgeon wears it, and we're projecting everything into the eye, and they can see what's going on, but they can't visually directly see the patient. Okay. While endoscopists and laparoscopists, those that use tools to go into your body, may not care, those that open you up to see things care. They want to visualize that.
Yeah.
Okay? So you are not replacing their skill. You are enhancing their skill sets. And that's what technology should be doing. It's not taking away from you. Instead, it's enhancing your decision making. So we moved away from that to what we call the see-through goggles that allows you to wear, like glasses I'm wearing right now, and you can visualize directly the patient. Do what you normally will do without it. So if it goes wrong and something doesn't work, you can still continue your surgery. But what we've done is to enhance your ability to make a medical instant decision by projecting where the cancer cells are into your visual cortex, so you can see where it is. And so technology, I think, thinking is going to replace, certain procedures can be replaced by technology. But it works much better when you have that human touch that then can logically make corrections when necessary and move forward in that direction.
That's great. So what for you, like, what is success? What does the world look like when the things you're creating are completely successful?
Well, if you ask me, it's just to take me out of business of cancer research. That's success for me. That means you've cured cancer, if that's feasible and possible. But in reality right now, success for me means access to health care by everybody, independent of your level of wealth or resources that you have, and making sure that we don't die of simple things that could be handled, could be detected much earlier. So our next whole move is to look at ways to find tumors as early as possible so that we can prevent it from even developing into a full-fledged cancer that we have today. So success for me means a world without cancer. Until we get there, equal opportunity for good health care for all is where I want to be.
So for people that are thinking of getting into the medical field, what type of advice would you give to those specific people?
You mean those that want to be medical doctors, clinicians, or medical researchers?
All of the above.
All of the above. I see a lot of, I train also some of these students in my program, in my lab, and they work very well. One of the things I teach my students is always that it's not a failure until you give up. And the point is not that you keep doing the same thing over and over again. And no, I think that the world will always bring its own challenges every time. Whatever you do, there's going to be a challenge, an obstacle that you have to overcome. And if you can't overcome an obstacle, then it's not fun. Look at matches we play today, games, tennis, there's a net. You have to hit the ball over the net. Golf, there's a hole. You have to pot it in there. All these are little challenges that make it exciting. All right? Even football, you have to somehow find the end zone. Basketball, you have to get to the net. The net is small. If it's wide open, everybody can be a champion. There's always going to be a challenge. What distinguishes you from the other person is how resilient you are, how committed you are, how much time and effort are you going to give into trying to make yourself better every day. So when what looks like apparent failure comes your way, you should look at it as a lesson, an opportunity to learn something new, and then use it to make yourself better down the line. So with that comes perseverance, and I always tell people that in research, be it science or medical research or thereabout, a lot of times we fight what we don't want. But what we don't want is actually what makes the difference at times. Okay, the unexpected discoveries. Oh wow, an apple fell on my head. Why? Okay, it's that notion to pay attention to those unexpected events that are happening, either at work or at lab, at home, and then turn it into a hypothesis that you can test and be able to solve a specific problem. So the bottom line is that there's always going to be challenges, but that's why you are there. Okay.
That's great advice. Well, Doctor, it's been a pleasure having you, and we are so excited that we got to talk to you today about something that's really amazing. I think is really going to change the face of medicine and improve a lot of people's lives. So
thank you so much. It's been a true pleasure talking to you guys.
So for the listening and viewing audience, where can they access your work, and are you on social media? Where can people get in touch with you?
I have LinkedIn, Facebook. Actually, my students help me do those. I'm not that. They are very good with social media and Twitter and so forth. So I'm not very good, but I've been asked to get on board. So I'm going to try to be more active in social media.
There you go.
So LinkedIn, we should find you on LinkedIn.
Yes, you will find me LinkedIn, Facebook, Achilefu, at whichever one you want, Twitter also. I'm there.
And we'll put the links in the show notes. That way everyone can get in touch if they're inclined.
That's wonderful. One thing I have to say though, a lot of times I'm seen presenting results. I'm seen answering questions. But behind all of this, a lot of people, a lot of students, a lot of colleagues, a lot of trainees, staff working day and night to make sure this happens. And I won't be here today talking to you without those people. And I just want to acknowledge that there are so many people that make all these adventures and discoveries, inventions happen. And they are the heroes that we should really celebrate.
It was a pleasure talking with you, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. It's really a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
For more episodes, visit innovationcity.co. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. And if you're in Miami, visit us on Thursday nights. Details are at venturecafemiami.org. And be sure to connect with us on social at We Are Slam and at Venture Cafe MIA. Thanks for listening.
This is where it all begins, so say goodbye to all your fears, all your doubts. This is where